Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Carew Culture. Welcome if you're new here. I am more than happy to have you. And today, as part of the Insight series, we have Ian.
Hello. Hello everyone.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
That's alright.
So we will be talking about how he went from investment banking to law.
Absolutely.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Why did you go into investment banking?
That's a good question. I guess because I did economics, I always had that perception that, you know, this is what an economics student should do. So I guess I kind of just followed that idea, or theory rather, that, you know, economics students should do this. So I thought I'll apply for an investment bank that I know and that I thought was cool and that I liked, and then I'll just give it a go. And then after a few applications, well, one, I got some internship.
You changed from investment banking to law?
That's an even better question than the first, to be honest. I did enjoy my summer internship. I really learned a lot about, you know, the financial world, banking, ins and outs, you know, all that kind of stuff that you'll get from an internship. But for me, I feel what I really liked were the legal aspects of it. So during my rotation, which was in operations, I would be introduced to things such as the way that banks are regulated. Essentially, it's like legal kind of stuff, and I found that very interesting as opposed to everything else that went on there, which is quite bad. So don't tell my ex-manager, otherwise he'll be on my back. So coming out of internship, I thought, if this is the kind of things that I like and I find interesting, maybe I should look into this more specifically. And that's where I recollected onto a conversation I had with a friend of mine who suggested that commercial law might be up my street. And that's where I thought, you know what, let me check this thing out. And here we are today.
What made you a prime candidate? Things like you just apply and you get it.
Boy, I wish that was the truth. Fair enough, when I applied for the summer internship, I don't know what went on there, but you know, something happened. But for the law, that was a whole other story, like a whole year's worth of trying and failing and applying and getting rejected. So the law scene was a lot more difficult for me personally than, you know, my experience in the investment banking division or area. But in order to answer your question, what I think made me a prime candidate was just my willingness to learn and my curiosity and my eagerness to show that I was excited to get into either of these industries. So I think the same thing is for law really. Coming from a non-law background, I made sure that I knew as much as I felt I could know for my level, and maybe even a bit more, to try and ensure that I knew the commercial workings of a law firm, or what the law firm does, what the role of a trainee solicitor would do, or an associate or a partner, stuff like that. So just making sure that I did enough research to ensure that I knew that I could answer the questions in an interview and show that I was passionate about what I was applying for. Yeah.
So commercial awareness is a massive thing when it comes to corporate applications.
Yeah.
What did you do to make sure you was that person that knew everything they had to? And understand and be able to talk about it as well, because reading it is one thing, but articulating yourself is a complete other ball game.
Yeah, definitely, I completely agree. And I think with commercial awareness, it's definitely something that, you know, scares or frightens a lot of people, because it's a very lucid term. And I put this in a way of, let's say, you know, you spend night and day on the Financial Times or on whatever source you use, BBC News, BBC Business. What source did I use? So for law specifically, I mean, I always say the Financial Times, but it's like, Financial Times is not for everyone. So because it's very technical, you need to almost know the fundamentals or the basics to get into it. So if you don't, there are other things that will more or less give you the same kind of information but in a different way, like The Economist, for example. That's a lot more discursive. That will discuss, you know, topics in more depth, as opposed to just a few words or a page of what is going on, like quick, sharp, short into what's going on right now which is where you get an FT, and then there's also BBC Business that also give you, you know, more or less similar kind of things. The Wall Street Journal, again, although that's very specific, I think, to the USA, so you might not get a lot of stuff of what's going on in the UK from the Wall Street Journal, but it's still a very good resource. Bloomberg is great. They do a lot of really great newsletters, so yeah, any news source that you think you can relate to, you can understand, that works, just go for it, read it. As I was saying, going on to the commercial awareness itself, you can read all these things, but coming into an interview and saying, you know, this firm is currently doing this, that's great, but what does it mean for the business that you're wanting to get into, and what does it mean for the industry that you're wanting to get into? I think that's where commercial awareness goes up, you know, another level, so that not only you know what is going on around you, but you know how it fits into the framework of, you know, the UK or global economy and the law firm or the company that you're looking to join.
So you studied economics, graduated from that. You're not from a law background. How did you enter the magic circle?
A lot of hard work, perseverance, you know, sleepless nights thinking about, am I in the right place? Am I actually gonna make it into this industry? Like, all those thoughts of doubting yourself are things that I battled with for up to a year. But what I think allowed me to get to where I got to, or where I am, is just doing research, really sticking my head down and trying to figure out what it is I'm missing, what do I need to know. Remember, over the course of 2020, it was me in online webinars that they did with, that law firms did, online webinars just to teach students or potential applicants what the law is about, what their firm is about, or providers such as Legal Cheat that would also put on regular virtual events, so anyone can just turn up, sign up for free, and join in for an hour, possibly ask questions and network at the end. Those were amazing. And also using my own network as well. So I think I mentioned earlier about my friend that I spoke to who inspired me to get into the law scene initially. So she's been a massive resource from the very start of my legal journey up till now. She helped me through literally everything, put me in contact with other people who helped me.
Shout out to amazing friends though.
Shout out to them, yeah. And literally, even on my vacation scheme that I did in December, I had a group of friends, shout out them. They know who they are, the dream team, that without them, that I probably wouldn't be, you know, across the line, or I wouldn't know as much as I would without those individuals on there. So I mean, it's just the people that I was able to network with and build relationships with that helped a lot as well. I
feel like that's really important, and one thing that people don't necessarily hone in on, like really utilizing your network, because they make your life 10 times easier. You're getting information from them that it would take you maybe 2 to 3 hours to find on the net in like the space of 5 minutes.
Literally. And like these friends of mine, they're law students. They're people that have, you know, been in this legal world, so to speak, way before me. I mean, I've literally just come into it, you know, so they know things that I wouldn't know, or I wouldn't get to know without the experience that they've had for so long. And just speaking on like legal terms and legal terminologies, they've studied law for like 3-4 years. They would know it, as opposed to me going on Google and trying to find out what an indemnity is, or what a warranty is, or what a share purchase agreement is. Like, these are things that are new to me, foreign, as opposed to learning about macroeconomics or you know, competition, like things like in economics and stuff like that. So it's all a different world. But when you know, you have good people that can help you out, and you show that you can also bring something to the table, which is something I think is also massively important. You don't want to be in a position where you're always
leeching.
You leech, yeah, for lack of a better word, leeching, or just taking, as opposed to helping the other person out as well. Yeah. You know, it's got to be a symbiotic relationship, definitely.
Of course, I agree. So how did you secure your role? Like, how did you actually do it? What processes did you have to go through?
Typically for, I'll say the most of law firm training contracts, you know, processes, applications, it's all very different, but I'll just talk about a very typical route, which is via a vacation scheme. So initially we'll do an application, and the application itself will vary depending on the firm you're applying to. So you might do a written application, you could do a telephone interview, you might do a virtual online interview / assessment centre, you might get some sort of test, typically a what some grades are. I think those are most of the things that you'll typically get for online assessment stage or process to apply. And then once you do that, if you pass it, you do the vacation scheme, which really depends on what time period you do it. So maybe winter, spring or summer. Some firms have a couple that go on during the summer as well. So maybe 4 intakes a year almost. And then once you do that, you either are just given the training contract if you do well on this vacation scheme, or you do another interview after that. And that was my situation. So all that being said, my route was very different because the firm that I am going into, I did a summer scheme with them, but it was not a vacation scheme. It was like an online, I don't know what to call it. It was like an information type of program that was done over summer for graduates. And then from there, I got an interview for the winter vacation scheme. I did well on that, and then I did an interview for the actual training contract itself. So it's more or less the usual type of route, but because I did the program over the summer, that kind of helped me quite a lot to progress through everything else.
Nice. You done your vacation scheme. What was that like for you?
I think it was really good. It was definitely very intense. Like, they don't tell you how intense it is until you actually do it. Although that being said, I think it's only as intense as you want it to be. Like, if you really want to do well, and you really want to show them that this is what you're made of, and you're committed to this life, then I guess that's what it will become intense. If you don't really care, then I guess it will be a walk in the park for you. But it was really good. I really enjoyed getting to know the firm a lot more, being with the cohort that I was with, the group of friends that I mentioned, that really helped me through it. What else? Doing the projects and tasks that they gave us to do over that 2 weeks really opened my eyes to what I will expect going forward in the industry, which I really enjoyed.
What were some of those projects and tasks?
So what were they? There was one where we had to essentially review an articles of association and look for things that our client might want to look out for. Essentially, it's a due diligence task. So what it is when a company is buying another one, the target company will have an articles of association, which was essentially like the laws or the governance of that company, of that business. And so to buy that business, you're going to need to know what it is you're buying, if that makes sense. So you're going to need to look into it quite extensively, which is why firms will hire law firms to do due diligence on their behalf. And so I got to do that, which was very new to me, because coming from, again, an economics background, I've never seen an articles of association in my life. I've never done a due diligence task in my life. So seeing that was quite daunting, but I mean, it seems I did well enough to progress to the next day. But yeah, I say generally it was a very positive experience.
So how did you actually convert your vacation scheme to a training contract?
Okay, so I think the qualification criteria almost to get from the vacation scheme to the training contract was doing well on the vacation scheme projects, and also doing well on the interview, the end of vacation scheme interview for the training contract itself. So I think having finished the vacation scheme, doing it to a well enough standard that I thought would be good enough for me, to my standards that I would want it to be done to, and also for the standards of the firm. You then do the final interview, which is an hour with typically 2 partners, maybe a managing associate and a partner, and they just ask you questions on anything really. For us, it was based off previous work that we did over the vacation scheme, which made it a bit easier because we got to almost know what they'll be asking us about, and you get to kind of prep or put yourself in the zone of, alright, this is what I'm going to get questions on. But then you could throw anything at you, like, why do you want to work in law? Why do you want to work at this firm? Tell us about something you're reading at the moment, what's going on, tell us something. Any question they'll want to throw at you, curveballs.
They'll throw it at you.
They'll literally throw it at you. And I remember my one, I was really getting grilled on a legal concept that I thought, this is just the end of me, but you kind of just have to persevere and just give the best answers that you can, and you show them your understanding and your rationale. And even if you don't get it wrong, as long as you've shown them that this is your thought process and this is how you think you would work out this situation, you should be okay.
Yeah. How does a student, a non-law student, stand out? What are your best tips?
Best tips? I would just say, just do your research.
Do your research, guys.
That's literally all it is. Do your research, prep really hard. I think you've got to show them that you come from a position of not being in a legal background, but you can understand what is going on enough to make them think, wow, this person really knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But wait, they're not even a law student, so it's like, wow, I really need to get this person if they're speaking.
Like, you want this.
Exactly. So, and then depending on what subjects you did previously, because I did economics, I was lucky that I'm going into or applying for something that is commercial. So economics is all about commerce. So just applying preliminary founding blocks I have from an economics degree into, commerce and legal. It's essentially legal commerce. So just flipping it on its head and trying to use what you know to your advantage, really.
So now you've smashed your vacation scheme, you're on your training contract, what do you actually do?
What do I do now? I'm not going to give you the answer I gave you previously, but right now I'm currently working in the civil service, which I'll hopefully do for as long as I can till I need to move over to law school and start legal conversion studies, which I'm super excited for. But yeah, civil service at the moment, quite an interesting role. It's also in the legal field of criminal law, which is quite interesting and eye-opening as well. So I'm really enjoying what I'm getting from there at the moment.
On a day-to-day basis, what do some of your tasks actually consist of?
So because I work in the court system, I sit in a lot of hearings. I get involved in a lot of the admin processes that would take place. So let's say we're doing a case and the judges ordered X, Y, and Z to happen. I'll be responsible for making these things actually happen in reality. So it's almost like a personal assistant for the judge. The judges that sit in courts almost, but not really like that, but it can be seen that way. And just general, liaising with external parties like barristers, criminal barristers that come in, and other parties that are involved in the way the court system operates, like solicitors and other agencies.
Cool. Do you miss banking?
Do I miss banking?
No?
I don't know because banking is such a wide thing that I don't know what to miss.
What you used to do? What you done in your summer?
Do I miss that? No.
Fair enough.
I'm not really a person that likes to play with numbers, hence why I ran to the other side. But I mean, it definitely was a great experience, and I really enjoyed the culture of the firm that I was at. So I guess that is something to miss.
What is one pro and one con of the pathway that you're taking?
A pro, I like to say, it's the people and the connections that you can make. So in my situation, as I mentioned before, I've made a wide range of relationships and connections with individuals who are law students, non-law students, current trainees, associates up to partner level, graduate recruitment individuals, and all of them always offer a different perspective and a different opportunity to learn something about the industry, or anything random that they might decide to share with you. So everyone is a new opportunity to learn something new and explore a different perspective, see the world from someone else's eyes, which is something that I always enjoy. A con, I'll definitely have to say it's application cycle, and that season can be very intense and daunting. But once you get into that flow and you get comfortable, how to write applications and how to tackle the processes, after you're flying after that. But the initial hurdles are quite daunting. But after that, smooth sailing, happy days.
Happy days.
Happy days.
And that's a wrap. So thank you so much for joining us today.
That's alright.
You've been more than insightful.
I try.
Okay guys, so I will catch you in the next one. Bye.